Hey friend, welcome back to the Lion's Garden podcast. I'm your host, Annie Peguero, and today we're going to talk about alcohol. We're going to talk about drinking. We're going to talk about binge drinking, drinking away your feelings, drinking away your experiences, drinking to celebrate, all the things related to drinking and the things that have been revealed to me after not drinking for 3 years. It's my 3-year. Wait, is it 3? So 21 to 22, 22 to 23, 23 to 24. Yeah, 3. I don't even know because it is such a non-issue in my life now. I definitely couldn't always say that. But my 3-year alcohol-free anniversary was January 2nd. And I want to share with you all of the ins and outs, the dirty and the beautiful things about living life without alcohol. All right, here we go. And if you like this episode, I want to encourage you to leave a review over at Apple Podcasts. Also on my LinkedIn, which is just Annie Peguero, and over on Google, you can search my name, Leadership Coaching, and you'll be able to leave a review there. I appreciate it so very much. It means the world, and it keeps this podcast going. Pop on over to thelionsgarden.com to learn about my coaching and consulting services. I can't wait to learn about you and how I can help you do the thing. Welcome back to the Lion's Garden podcast. I'm your host, Annie Peguero, founder of the Lion's Garden Coaching and Consulting Group. My personal, professional, and spiritual journey really began when I decided that I was done with imposter syndrome and done with self-sabotage. I made small shifts, said bring it on to fear and discomfort, and released attachment to the outcome to take big action in my life. Now I help business owners, moms, leaders, entrepreneurs, and you do the same and become the person who does the thing in your life. Thanks for listening to The Lion's Garden. Please go to thelionsgarden.com to learn about our coaching and consulting services. Oh my gosh, I am so obsessed with that intro and outro music that I got for free. It reminds me of Bush. I love Bush. I saw them for the first time last year with some friends here in DC, and it was the coolest show ever. I was like, never saw them live. I don't know why. Gavin Rosdale, I mean, what in the world? Gavin, please be on my podcast. You're amazing. I actually touched your stomach when you when you came out into the crowd. It was just a really cool show at the Anthem in DC. But anyway, that's what that reminds me of. I was like, I must have this on my podcast. Such a product of the 90s. Listen, you guys, drinking. Let's talk about alcohol in a way that is not shameful, not judgmental, not anything. Just a woman here sharing my experience, sharing my journey, sharing what alcohol was to me, and you know how my life has changed since I stopped drinking. So when I when I first started talking on this podcast, I was like, 3 years, 2 years. I don't know. Like I really didn't know because I didn't celebrate it this year. Like when it was 2 years, I was like, yeah, this is a big deal. But now it's 3 years. I was like, yeah, cool. It was my 3-year alcohol-free anniversary. And I didn't really celebrate it. I just kind of acknowledged it. What was a big deal for me was 1,000 days. That was back, I think it was September 28th, 24th, something like that, 28th. That was a big deal. I don't know why. 1,000 days was a bigger deal to me. I remember like when I was like at 500 days, I was like counting down to see when 1,000 days was going to be, just so I could make sure to really celebrate it. I think I took myself to the spa. But yeah, like it's January, so I'm seeing a lot of people post and share about dry January. I saw one person that I know wrote, "Yay, I made it a week into dry January." I mean, holy shit, like, that's amazing. There hasn't been a day in this 3 years that I woke up in the morning and said, I wish I would have drank last night. I mean, not a single day, not one single day. And what I'm really going to dig into in this podcast is feeling your feelings and how alcohol does not allow you to feel your feelings. Really is like such an incredible escape from feeling and what that does to a person. A big theme that I'm talking about across my platform in the month of January is wellness. It's really shifted a lot in my 12 years in my coaching business. It used to be things like New Year, New You Fitness Challenge, or let me help you get in the best shape of your life this January. When really, I mean, I'm going to be 49 in a couple of weeks. Just celebrating this wellness journey and making decisions every day that contribute to being well. And whether that's saying yes to doing nothing, sitting on the couch watching Netflix, laying on my acupressure mat, which maybe you saw me post about on Facebook, just spending time with my family. And maybe it does look like going to the gym. Today, my trip to the gym looked like working. Like I brought my laptop and I sat in the cafe and I did some work, and then I went to like the recovery lounge. We have that at my health club that I go to. And I went into the Normatec recovery lounge and I did the Normatec, like, they're like these giant, like, inflatable things like boots, and they help you with circulation, acupressure points. It's fantastic. And then I went and did shoulders and biceps for like 20 minutes, and that was it. When in the past, man, a 3 hour gym session would look much different than that. 20 minutes of cardio before and after, a high intensity interval training mixed with, a really intense strength training session. And that's just my journey and where I'm at in my fitness and my wellness. And it looks different for everyone, but I know that as a woman, approaching 50, that high intensity workout just doesn't suit me anymore. And I don't feel great after it. So my workouts look a lot different. What am I even saying right now? Yeah, wellness, right. So wellness looks a lot different today than it looked even just 5 years ago for me. And I hope that if you're feeling that your current wellness routine may need a little bit of a tweak, but you're feeling hesitant because of whatever, like pressures from within yourself, pressures from within your social circles, or wherever you might be feeling that pressure from, that you just really take a minute to listen to what feels right for you in your wellness journey. And what felt right for me was quitting alcohol. So, okay, let me really paint a picture for you of what it looked like when I was drinking. So, living on Okinawa for 7.5 years, it was beach life, sunsets every night. I mean, just really, really cool. We made it a point to watch the sunset every night. And what that also entailed was sitting on the beach drinking. And in Okinawa, you could go to these little convenience stores called kombini. The one that was near us was Family Mart chicken. Oh my gosh, I miss you so much. But there's this alcoholic beverage called Strong Zero. So if you lived in Okinawa or you know Japanese stuff and you have drank Strong Zeros, you know what I'm talking about. So these beverages would be like 9% alcohol. Some of them were 7%, but I would always, of course, go for the 9%ers and always the pounder size. So if you know what that is, it's like the big 16-ounce can. And this alcohol, it's like hard to even describe. It's like a sparkling water with alcohol in it. And I think it's like a Japanese rice alcohol. So kind of like vodka, but not. Like really doesn't taste like alcohol at all. And I would just throw those back. I mean, 4 of them, maybe. I mean, I would drink like 2 of the extra large ones and then maybe 2 of the small ones. And that would be like a regular night. And then when I would go back to my house, I would drink like anything else that was left at my house. And I mean, as you can imagine, I wasn't a very pleasant person to be around. Would pick fights with my husband, yell at my children, wake up feeling horrible, and hungover for a good 3 days. And then I would like maybe not drink for a couple of days, like really hit the gym hard, bike all over the island. And then, like, once I started feeling better, I would find some reason to celebrate and then start drinking again and start the whole entire thing again. Well, oh my gosh, just the decline of my wellness and just recognizing that I was becoming like my own worst enemy and the person that I never wanted to be. I had to really take a good hard look at myself and look at the choices that I was making and the mom that I was being and the coach that I was being and the wife that I was being and not being. And I decided a few times over the years to quit drinking. And it would last for like 6 months at a time, 3 months at a time. And then like summer would come and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be the only one not drinking on the beach. Like, how am I going to not enjoy sunset? I mean, how can I enjoy sunset if I'm not drinking? That was my mindset. So I quit drinking. There was a time I quit for like 6 months, and then we had some family that was coming to visit in July when we were there on Oki, and I was like, well, I have to start drinking again. I don't want to not drink when they're here. Yeah, it was just like that cycle. I couldn't stop. I couldn't quit drinking. And when we would hang out with people, which was all the time, my consumption was like double everybody else's. Like, even to this day, if I have a beverage, I have to chug it. Like, I am just a chugger. I just have to chug it. I want all that carbonation in my mouth right away, especially that first sip. So, yeah. And it wasn't until our our marriage declined when my husband and I almost split back in 2020 that I was like, I can't go through this with alcohol on board. So it was 2020 that I did quit drinking for a while, and my husband's father passed away in January of 2020, and I didn't drink at all during the time of his death, and then after, in mourning his death for several months, and then I started drinking again. But what I learned during that time of going through the experience of losing him was that I felt my feelings. I mean, I really felt. I felt what it was like to lose someone and be not be drunk. And it sucked. I'm going to be honest. It really sucked. Like, everybody in the family was drinking and laughing and crying and remember him, and I made a different choice. And it was really hard to stick to at that time because I wasn't really in the mindset that I was done drinking once and for all. But I started talking about it, and I noticed what that did. It made me realize that I had a problem, And it also brought to the surface this stigma of what talking about having a problem with binge drinking, a problem with alcohol, does to you, to a person. So let's see, I'm not sure when I started drinking again in 2020, but I did start drinking. And then I drank into 2020. Then, when my husband and I went through a really, really rough patch from about July until September of 2020, I didn't drink. During that rough patch, I knew that if I were drinking, I was going to be out of control. I knew myself and my drinking patterns well enough by then that I knew that if I was drinking during that time, there was no way I was going to be able to mother my children. It was just a really, really hard time. We almost separated. We did separate for about a month, and I knew that I couldn't drink during that time. But then, as soon as things were good, I started drinking again. And it was about then that I was like, I can't go on. I just can't. I can't go on like this. What am I doing? What is happening? Why do I keep choosing alcohol? Why do I keep choosing this poison? It was just this sabotage over and over again. And what I realized during, I don't know when, I can't like pinpoint when this aha moment was, but it was a realization that I was abandoning myself, that I was really, not a whole person when I was drinking. And the thing that people brought up to me when they talked about my sobriety to me, when they asked me questions, they're like, I just don't want to drink anymore. How do you do it? How are you having a social life? How are you relaxing? How are you doing it? And the decision for me was I wanted wholeness. And if I was drinking, I wasn't feeling my feelings, and therefore I wasn't whole. And I see this pattern of people in my circles articulating that they are unable to feel their full range of feelings. I've seen it in entrepreneur groups. I've seen it in coaching clients, friends, relatives. People will share with me that they get to a point where they're starting to feel sad or feel angry or feeling some really like unfavorable emotion, and do everything they possibly can to get out of that discomfort, whether it's and it's usually involves drinking. And for most moms, it's drinking wine. I mean, oh my gosh, the mommy wine culture is just, I just can't even. Feeling like you are deserving of alcohol, deserving of poison to be able to get through the day, or because you did laundry during that day, you're going to relax with some wine because you deserve it. And now, since that is no longer in my life anymore, I could see how that poison is affecting so many people as it was affecting me so incredibly. Like, I was not able to feel my feelings. If I felt overwhelmed, all I did was drink until I didn't feel overwhelmed anymore. Then my mom died. My mom died, it was 1 year ago in 10 days. And I at that point, I was already alcohol free for 2 years. Did the thought cross my mind, maybe I'll drink to get through this? I'm going to be real honest. Yeah. I'm like, well, I could just drink a glass of wine and I wouldn't feel how horrific I feel right now watching my mother decline with this Alzheimer's disease, this terrible disease. And I considered it. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, why would I go backwards? Why would I take steps backwards? Why would I do that to myself, my family, my marriage, my children, myself? Why would I abandon myself? And I chose to just really sit in those feelings of grief and despair and loss and emptiness. Even before she died, like, today, last year, January 8th, just going back in my notes app and looking at what I was experiencing at her bedside, just watching her decline, knowing that if I were to have that glass of wine, which would end up being a bottle of wine, what that would do in the moment, I would be able to escape. I'd be able to escape the feelings, be able to escape the emotions, and then the next day I would feel a million times worse. I mean, that was inevitable. And, maybe that's what it is, like being able to put yourself into where you're going to be the next day and really getting into that type of vibration helped me be able to make the decision to not drink. Now, if you are a person who you can have one drink and then you're good to go and you're not going to drink anymore, drinking yourself into just an incredible hangover, then maybe this episode isn't for you. But there is like incredible scientific studies on the effects of alcohol and that poison on your brain. Like even just one drink affects your sleep 100%, affects your sleep patterns, affects the rest that you get, and your ability to feel your own feelings. So maybe you feel like this doesn't apply to you, but rest assured that you still are affecting your sleep, affecting your emotions, affecting your mental capacity and wellness with just one drink. So yeah, let's get back to feeling your feelings. So as I was talking about just seeing so many people and how it's become a real like a pandemic even of people walking around the planet not feeling. And then it being a thing, right? It's like, well, here, let's drink alcohol so that we can even further go down that rabbit hole of not feeling. And it's really something. It's a different journey for everyone. And for me personally, and really that's the only aspect that I can speak from, is just my own personal experience with not drinking, is the light that it has allowed into my life, the certainty, the clarity, the confidence, the ownership of my own drinking patterns, my own downfalls, my own flaws, my own, oh my gosh, imperfections, all of the things, my own limits, and just getting curious about them and getting curious about why I had abandoned myself, why I had gone down that path of just incredible binge drinking for so long. I mean, that's definitely a podcast episode for another day, but just getting up close and personal with your own feelings and the space that living alcohol free, even for a little while, going through some really hard shit sober, going through some traumatic times without drinking alcohol, the expansion and the gift that will bring to you is it's without measure. It is without measure. So if you've been an alcohol-free, curious person, if you're like have been somebody who speaks to me on a personal level about not drinking alcohol, I just want to encourage you to do it. Do it for your own wellness, for just moving into this space that we are creating here on this planet in 2024, just this energy expansion, this point in time of incredible abundance, and really allowing all of that into your life by saying yes to yourself and pushing alcohol to the side for a while. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what this means to you, what this brings up for you. If you're like, Annie, I feel judged as fuck, I don't want to talk to you, that's fine too. because that's not my angle, but I know that a lot of people feel very uncomfortable when I start talking about my alcohol-free living. And that's okay. I mean, it's not for everyone, definitely not. But if you are feeling triggered or are feeling judged or whatever, that also is data. It's a data point for you to look at and say, huh, yeah, I'm feeling away, and get curious about that, and ask yourself where that's coming from, you know, just where that's coming from, where that stems from, the root cause, really, the root cause of maybe any defensiveness, or I don't have a problem with alcohol, so this doesn't apply to me. So I'm just going to be my, 2 drink a night person. But I want to throw that back at you and say, what if you didn't? What if you just felt your full range of emotions without the alcohol, and see what happens? Send me a message. I really want to hear from you. I want to hear what this means to you. If you go 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 3 months, 3 years, 13 years, alcohol free, I want to hear from you, and what shifts and what's come up for you during that time. You can always send me a message anywhere, in all the places. I love talking about it. And I would love to connect with you and hear from you about it. So, if this episode has been helpful to you in any way, share it with a friend, leave me a review, and please send me a message. Hey, I'm with you. I got you. I'm with you, and I'm here for you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for so much for listening to my episode on alcohol-free living and what it means to me to be 3 years alcohol-free, and what it can mean for you to actually feel your full range of emotions, and how that could have some tremendous shifts for you. As always, reach out anywhere on my platform. My email, Annie@AnniePeguero.com, my website, The Lion's Garden. On LinkedIn or Instagram, I always respond to all of my own messages. So again, thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to hear from you.